Japan, a country with anime, manga, shrines, Nintendo, fast trains, and anime, and now subtitles. Oh no. I am not in Japan right now, but you see, my university encourages students to go abroad and study. So, when they asked me where I want to go, I answered Nihon. They looked confused at me, so I said Nippon. They looked even more confused at me. So I said the land of the rising sun and anime, which made it clear I was talking about Japan. The reason for my choice is because Japan is the country that is furthest away from my country that I could think of, and because who doesn't like toilets where seats are heated? Also, anime. A couple of problems. I will have to interact with other people. Of course, I could spend all my time in the dorm, but then I wouldn't be able to experience maid cafe, shrines. Another problem is that I can't actually stay inside my four walls all the time, because they have mandatory classes. Why? Who thought it was a good idea to force students to attend classes where Fuck English! Where most people will spend time sleeping, watching TikTok or playing Candy Crush. Anyways, I could just rely on Google Translate, but I want to become Nihongo Jozu. Wait, what does it mean? Yes, of course, I knew that. Speaking of translating, I signed up for Japanese class and I have a speaking and writing exam coming up very soon. Why did I do that? I don't know. Maybe because I hate my life. Alphabet, because that's the most logical place to start. Here, can you read this? Exactly. If you want to master the anime language, you need to learn the alphabet. 3 to be more exact. Hiragana, which every child knows even before they are born. And you should too. Katakana, which is just like hiragana but more angular and a little bit more weird, but it sounds exactly the same as hiragana. And kanji, which is big FU because there are a couple of thousand of them that you need to learn. Yay! And each kanji has 2 readings, onyomi and kunyomi, Chinese and Japanese. But we are not learning Chinese. Why do we need to learn Chinese characters? Because you should learn history. Fuck you, you stupid little. A million years ago, even before the dinosaurs walked the earth, China made a bunch of characters and a system for constructing them, aka words from other squiggly characters called radicals. And bada bim bada boom, they made a writing system that they wanted to spread with all the neighbors. You know, to be able to communicate with the neighbors and have diplomacy and show their dominance. You know, the normal things. But Japan was like, okay, we can adopt your system, but we are going to make a Japanese way of saying each one of your characters, said Japan. But they didn't just make one reading for each of these Chinese characters. They made multiple Japanese readings for each Chinese character. So when I actually said there are 2 readings for each kanji, yes, it's true, onyomi and kunyomi, but there are multiple Japanese ways of reading the same character. And the way you distinguish them is based on context. That's it. What the fuck? Yeah, no, so anyways, I'm not learning kanji, especially not the stroke order. I'm just hoping that I will visually memorize them throughout my learning journey and hope that no one asks me to write something by hand. If they do, I'ma run away.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Alright, we learn hiragana and katakana, and if we see a kanji, we just run or we look it up, pretend that we remember it, and move on. At this point, I would recommend memorizing some words, so that you can hold a basic conversation about your favorite anime with that random person you met on the street in Japan. I did this using Banikani and searching for the 1000 most common words. Now for the grammar. If you are aware of the widespread British Empire language or any of the Latin or Germanic languages, you will have a hard time, because everything is backwards in Japanese grammar. If you want to say, I watch anime every day, in Japanese that would be everyday anime watch. Mainichi anime o mimasu. So you either need to be Arabic or have mastered the Yoda language. Oh, you wonder why I dropped the I? That's because the topic is obvious. Who else watches anime every day besides you? And the sentence wasn't a question, because then you would have a ka at the end. Why not just use the question mark? Because when you're speaking Japanese, it's not always obvious if what you are saying is a statement or a question. But in the writing, you need both ka and the question mark. You probably already know that Japanese culture is based on politeness and obedience. Good for you, because if you want to say I didn't die, in Japanese that would be dai didn't, as we have already learned. So in Japanese that would be shinanakatta. Shinanakatta. If you said that to a police officer after getting into a car accident that wasn't your fault, you would go straight to jail. Because you should have said shinimasen deshita while bowing to the ground, at the same time being covered in blood. Because you are in a car accident and you got hurt. After which you should have committed seppuku. Resources I use and recommend for beginners to learn the Japanese grammar is the Genki books and Bunpro website, Jisho to look up words, conjugator.reverso, and Japanese verb conjugator are all good resources if you want to find out if you want to say something in the past, present, or as a potential, and to decide how polite you want to be. Now, I would recommend you to diversify your ways of learning Japanese, and I don't mean to watch shonen anime one day and josei anime another day. What I mean is that you should do the 4 different fundamentals of a language: reading, speaking, listening, and writing. Let's start with the easiest one, which you probably already doing: listening. Listening to anime and music is great, but how often do you take your time to stop and translate what you are listening to and understand the grammar and structure of the sentences? Next, writing. Fuck that. Skip. Even though I know that the more sentences you use, the better you will remember the information. But if Chinese people who have 10 times more kanji are doing fine forgetting how to write by hand because they are so used to phone and keyboard, I think I'll be fine. Of course, if you're going to be serious and do the Japanese language proficiency test, then you have to learn how to write by hand. But for the rest of us who just want to learn how to text with our favorite waifu on ChatGPT, we will be fine using a keyboard. Reading. If you are someone who is being called an otaku, then you probably already reading manga. But now, try to do it in Japanese. But since you don't know how to read kanjis, you have to read kids manga. I am not so much into manga, so what I am reading is either the Genki books or occasionally the Todai Japanese news. Last and the most difficult one is speaking. I know spending all day behind the screen leads to difficulties of being social and therefore no friends. And your weeaboo friends on Discord, if you have any, probably don't speak Japanese either. But don't worry, I have a solution. Buy a ticket to Japan. If you're poor, I have another solution. Go out and find people that look Asian and start talking Japanese to them. How to determine if someone is Asian, you may ask? Well, that's easy. According to this new AI made by Microsoft, all Asian people have and are. They also are bad at. They love. Favorite music is. I can't comment on that. If I did, that would be discrimination. And I already have enough dislikes on this video from all the Reddit and Discord mods that I have offended. I'm sorry, please forgive me. You could also do like me for practicing speaking, and that is to record yourself speaking out loud and afterwards listen to yourself and correct your mistakes while cringing to death because your voice sounds awful. Personally, I'm a believer that you learn the language best when you surround yourself with it. And the best way to do that is to live in that country. And I am all about being efficient. Unfortunately, I don't have the possibility to go to Japan before my Japanese exams that I have in a couple of weeks that I should be preparing for instead of making this video. Also, my Japanese level is N5, which is like the lowest you can get. So you shouldn't take any advice from me too seriously. Alright, sayonara, bye, kawaii, sugoi, wow!